Hi everyone and welcome back to A Day in the Life. It is the Southport Journey Presents podcast and we are so excited to have you back again, watching, listening and subscribing. We are here today with a fabulous Kim and I cannot wait to have this conversation with you. It is going to be phenomenal. And we wanted to sort of showcase, share, highlight to people what a life and a day in your life is. More importantly, so that people, when they're watching the podcast, listening to the podcast, you know, on social media at the minute, everybody's living their best life. It's showcased, it's, you know, edited. We don't know whether
Curated.
What we're watching, curated. What we're watching on AI, is it real, is it not real? So we wanted to take this moment to really slow it down, meet a real life human, someone that's out there currently smashing it a lot, but showcasing realistically how hard it can be some days. And not to sort of be down in the dumps about it, but going, these moments have made me stronger. These are the moments where I learn, where I've been growing and really showcasing you as a person. We will touch on what she does for a living because it's really, really interesting. I think it's so now, it's so to the point of what is needed for so many brands out there. And I think it's a really, like, what you're doing, such an interesting take on it as well. I think it's a unique point. So we will be focusing in on her business, what she is doing. But for now, I just want you to take with you into the podcast that this is a space for trust. This is a space for honest communication, for you to sort of settle in, to watch, and to not feel judged in this moment. You know, we're going to talk through sort of your day, your week, how you've kind of got to this point.
Do I need to come with an advisory?
No, maybe there might be a couple of swear words. So if there's small children nearby, adios. This is your time to listen in, to relax, to enjoy it. And being unfiltered, being yourself. There's no point in making this into something structured and who you're not. So taking it with us into the podcast and into the rest of sort of our talk together. If there's anything in the podcast that's really resonating with you, share it. You know, your journey's been so interesting and we're going to get into that in a minute. But there could be somebody out there that's thinking, I'm about to start a new project, or do you know what? I'm not sure where I'm going to turn in my next juncture of life. This might be the podcast that changes their direction. So please share it, send it to a friend, because this might be the conversation now that somebody watches and listens without judgment, without sort of us saying this is the ideal way to do it. This is just the way that you've done it.
Yeah, and it might be the thing that just gives them that push to make those changes.
To really push it through. So instead of me introducing you, why don't you showcase who you are, what your brand is, what your business does, and just tell everybody what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, hi, my name's Kim Antrobus. I actually run two businesses, so I've got Visible AF and That Woman Rising, and essentially I'm a visibility strategist and a personal branding badass, and I also facilitate a network of awesome women in business. That is what I do in terms of my business. I also am a singer, so I'm a natural performer. But I do share a lot of my personal story, and I know in 2026 this is the way forward with so much AI out there. We're in a bit of a trust recession. People don't know what to believe. People don't know what's real, and they're craving that connection. They're craving unfiltered real life, and that's what they get with me. Part of my story is I'm a woman with disabilities, and I'm also a parent to 4 children, 3 of whom are autistic. And it is hard. It is hard. I'm not going to lie about it. I don't sugarcoat anything. I'm really honest about the difficulties I have. But I want people to feel that warmth and that joy that I get from the life that I live, even though it's chaos, absolute chaos, bedlam sometimes. In my house in the mornings, for example, it's absolute chaos. But I wouldn't change the business side of it for the world. That gives me my extra purpose and keeps me going.
I think it also brings through this nature in you that people warm to. I think it's that real raw honesty, because I think as you've highlighted so well there, sometimes through social media now that's being lost and people wanting to showcase, you know,
overly polished.
Yeah,
So
was
much-
there was that sort of cool girl aesthetic that was a real trend and on the nose trend almost.
It still works, I suppose, for some
Yeah.
brands, but I think other people want something they can resonate with, and they're looking for that genuine side to people. And I think authentic gets used too much, but I like genuine as a word. They want to see real people doing good things, and people want to feel inspired. They want to see a bit of themselves in your story. They want to feel part of your journey, and that's what I'm trying to create and encourage other people to do as part of their personal brand.
Yeah, fantastic. So let's bring it back then to your day to day, and we're going to link it straight into the name of the podcast, A Day in Your Life. So at the moment, what does a day in your life look like?
Literally this week, my mornings are drudgery. I'm not even going to lie. Mornings are really difficult, for me anyway, because I struggle to get up in the mornings. Typically, being a perimenopausal woman as well, I can't sleep. Then I have to get up and I'm too tired, but I have to do the school runs. The kids, I understand as well, do not want to be getting up and going out. But I do have one child in particular that really struggles with school. I think at one point they called them school refusers. I don't know if that's the right term for it these days. She definitely is. She doesn't enjoy mornings at all. And I get it, because I don't either as an adult. So mornings are hell, but I kind of I get that out of the way, and then I give myself some time to breathe. I've just started doing Scene Queen Diaries, which is me just answering a question around the idea of visibility and personal branding, and putting thought-provoking questions back out there to people to think about when they're thinking about their own brand and designing how they're going to move forward. So I've started doing that, and I'll do that over a coffee and just chill for the morning, because I just need that time to breathe.
I think that's so powerful though, that you've already recognised that. I think for a lot of people, they're still trying to figure out, what do I need after that busy period to ground myself?
Absolutely.
And you've found it, you've identified it.
There would have been a time, Lizzie, where I would have just wrapped myself in a blanket and slept all morning.
Yeah.
And I don't want to hibernate. That is not in my nature. I'm quite an outgoing person. I love seeing people doing things. I don't want to be that sofa slug, as
I love that. A sofa slug.
I don't mind it now and again, it has its place, but I don't want to be doing that every single day.
Yeah.
That's monotony to me, and I do not want that from my life.
And I suppose that can have a bad mental health sort of
it does.
effect on you as well. That's
Absolutely.
You're almost slowing your personality down,
Yeah.
which in the long run would cause problems in itself. So
yeah, well, I have a history of mental health problems anyway, like most of my life. Now, with the realisation of my late diagnosis of ADHD, I understand why, and perspective shifts everything. And I think having that is kind of forearming me for how to deal with it moving forward. And I can recognise when those slumps are coming and the behaviours are coming in that are dragging me back down, and I don't want to go there. Yeah. It's not about ignoring the feelings. I acknowledge the feelings and I'll sit with those feelings, but I don't want to sofa slug my way through my life.
Well, that fits in so nicely. I wouldn't call myself a sofa slug. How I call myself is a burrito. So I'm more enveloping than I am sort of slugging. But it is. I think everyone's got those moments within their sort of month, and I think as a business owner,
can we normalise it?
I think we need to.
Not everyone's a 5 a.m. chai latte, matcha tea kind of person who gets up and does yoga. Some of us have real life issues that we've got to contend with, and unfortunately, that is always going to be there. We've got to get ways of coping and living through that.
I couldn't be. That resonates with me so much, because in my past life, I was a primary school teacher. I had to be in school sort of before 7. Meetings, the higher up sort of rankings you go, if you're in middle leadership, higher management, meetings can start from 7. And being, I was very much sort of beating myself up on the daily because I wasn't alert at 7. And being there well, everyone else is.
We've all got different circadian rhythms, but this world is all drawn up around this 9 to 5 typically kind of, and that's just not me.
Well, that's it. And I think being able to, I think it comes with age. I think sometimes people recognise it at different points in life. For me, it was sort of a getting older and realising that I could change my rhythm, change that actually that doesn't fit me anymore. I can now do this and like have a different morning, even though, you know, my cameraman who can see out the corner of my eye, I was late this morning. So, you know, some things don't fully change, but I think it's important to acknowledge where those strengths lie where you can keep working.
I can't hold down a 9-to-5 job, and that realisation was hard for me. Like, just physically and mentally cannot cope in a 9-to-5 anymore.
Yeah.
I've done it my whole working life until about 2 years ago, and I just can't. So the balance for me came with going, actually, this is my body clock. My body clock, I wake up around 7-8 o'clock at night, and that's when I will do my best work. So sometimes I just allow myself that grace of working from 7 till 2 in the morning, because that's when I'm productive. That's when my brain works best. I can't just slot myself into a 9-to-5 and expect everything to work, because it's just overcompensating over time. You push yourself and push yourself to fit in to what society expects of us, and you're going to fall short. Eventually, you're going to burn out. You're going to struggle, and that's where I was at, unfortunately.
And I think what I want to sort of showcase in that is the positivity that's come out of that. As you said, you've recognised it. You know, being a parent, I'm not going to use the word job. It's not a job. It's something that, you know, is part of your day-to-day rhythm, your day-to-day life. But that is from when they wake up in the morning until they go to bed. And it probably isn't until they're sort of settled that you can start to sort of, you know, organise your thoughts.
It's a real thing. Like, sometimes we will just literally sit there zoned out watching telly because you're just desperate for that time to just be you. To just be and not have demands of you. So that's hard too.
So we're going to up it again now. We are going to bring out that fabulous one. You've got an amazing smile. Every time I see it brightens my day. I see it at different networking events. I've come to some of your own, which have been fabulous and so unique. I think there isn't at the minute, from what I can see in the landscape, anything like the networking events that you're putting on.
That is deliberate.
Well, there you go. That's part of it, isn't it? I think that's what what drew me to you in the first place. You find sort of the gap in the market, and you go, there you go. I need to fill that.
So a hell of a lot of social listening as well. You know, listening to what people are enjoying about networking and what they hate. A lot of people hate the pitches, and I thought, you know what? Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of it. There's ways to get to know each other that do not involve standing up and doing a pitch to the room. Most people don't like to feel like they're selling or being sold to, so I've just taken that out. And it's not about not doing business. There's ways to do business, but why can't it be fun? And a lot of what I wanted to do was bring fun and socialising into business kind of networks as well. I know that a lot of them do, but it's a really huge part of my networking. The socials. And
how did you sort of because they're mainly they're women, aren't they? So it's a women's networking, but I know that within your social media and within your sort of posts that you put out there, it's a community that you're building. Can you express that a little bit more in more detail for anybody that's maybe watching, looking for the next step in their business? What would draw them to come to one of yours?
So it is women focused. That does include trans women and anybody else that's an ally that feels comfortable in the community, but it is women focused, and the aim is to really give women a bit of a platform, because there are so many gender inequalities. The gender pay gap's still a real thing. We can't skirt over these issues. Women don't get the same opportunities in business. Still, in 2026, we're looking at this as a real thing. It's a real issue. So I wanted to give a platform to kind of shine a light on women in business and also train them up. So one of the huge parts is business development. Every session we have an expert in who brings something to the group to enable women to do better in business and to do better in life. It's not always about business. Some of it's personal development as well. So that's been a huge part of it too. In terms of like building a community, there are so many women who don't always feel fulfilled or don't feel like they've got a place and don't feel like they belong. I moved to Southport. I love Southport, but I moved here about 5 years ago and I still hardly know anyone. And for someone like me who's quite outgoing and I love other people, I mean, that's strange to me. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to just start highlighting that I'm here. If anybody wants to come and have a good time, come and join me at my network. Because there must be other women that are craving that support and that allyship, that championing each other and celebrating the shit out, there's the first swear bomb, celebrating the shit out of one another, because that's what it should be about, you know, over competition, collaboration always wins.
Oh, 100%. You know, that is a motto that, you know, I follow through and through. And I think I'm hoping that 2026 we see more of that. I mean, in Southport this year, there's so many events happening. You know, the first one is on the 13th of February. They started with Lightport. The whole of the town is working in different pockets. You know, if you do have your own independent business, your focus is on your business. Yeah. You know, we're working with others, and that collaboration is that additional, that extra. And I think the hope this year is that we can bring more businesses that are ready to collaborate together, that can afford to, that sort of want to be working as a group and working as a unit, because I think that allows for creative expression. I think it allows for a voice to travel further. And I think it allows it sort of stuff to sort of resonate a little bit higher, shows that a community is what it says on the tin.
Absolutely. And you know, and it's creating these opportunities as well for people to be seen and heard in business, because not everyone has got the money behind them to shout the loudest, shall we say, on the social medias and to be as prominent. But that's not what visibility is even about, really. It's about having a bit of a plan, being really intentional about where you go. And I think, you know, community projects like that, there'll be so many businesses that I haven't come across in Southport yet. That's just in Southport. And you realise that the importance of community for driving that awareness and making people kind of work together. It's nice. I love what you're doing with community.
Thank you. Well, what I wanted you to go into sort of this next segment about is that if people are in the juncture of their life where either their business has already been established, that, you know, could be whatever time scale that is, but they've got established business, what would be something for them to sort of analyse about their business now? And there we go. Love
you can
it.
see the soapbox. I'm getting on it.
Like what should they be looking at? Is there like something that they can assess to decide what their next step should be and when you need to come in?
An established business in particular, I would be looking at what their brand presence is like on social media, because a lot of people, especially when it's B2C, business to consumer facing businesses, people want to see the person behind the business. They don't want flat, faceless corporate brands anymore. People aren't interested in that. They're interested in the person behind it. They're interested in your story. They want to connect with you. And I'd be interested to see what they're doing on the socials, what kind of storytelling work that they're doing, what they're sharing. It's not about sharing everything and making yourself feel completely uncomfortable. And sometimes it can be damaging for the brand. It's got to be done in a particular way, obviously. But I would love to see more personality coming through on social media from businesses. You know, there's so many businesses that are hiding behind their logos rather than actually sharing and getting involved with the community and doing things within the community and just showing their face. Yeah. I'd like to see more of that.
So in terms of that for a business, is there sort of one tip that you could give them now that you can kind of think, you know, this is what you can just do today, even if it's just a small change, whether it's social media, if there's, you know, just putting your face online, or what
absolutely putting your face online, but putting a bit of story with it. It's not about just trauma dumping or anything like that. I don't mean that. It doesn't have to all be like trauma dumping and things like that. Magnetising content is content that people can relate to, whether that's sometimes people share a story of overcoming and things like that, but sometimes it's just celebratory and sharing the wins and things like that. It's also as good sharing things like you've got a family that you're proud of, sharing your dog. Oh my God, people love dogs. Everybody loves puppies and kittens. But yeah, there's so much you can do, showing that you are a multi-dimensional person. You are not just a flat faceless corporate. You've got something interesting about you, and that is what people are looking for in terms of marketing and branding in 2026. And especially the people that have got the bigger budgets, they should be looking at really investing in that now, because that will be the strength, that will be what differentiates them.
Yeah. Fantastic. Well, whilst we go into a little break and we hear from our sponsors, we want you now to put your face online. Think about a story. Think about what it is that makes
you super brave. Go live.
To really put your face forward. If there's something so far that's resonated, or you know someone that's got a business that needs that extra push, that little bit of fire, share this with them. Send it to them in a text message saying, this is the podcast that made me think of you. And, get sharing with your friends. So as we hear from a sponsor, we'll be right back. Welcome to A Day in the Life, our sponsor slot. This is where, if you have a business, we could be featuring you. This is an opportunity to showcase what your business does, have it highlighted by us. So get in touch at A Day in the Life, and this is where your business could really shine. Okay, so we're back. Thank you very much to our sponsors.
It's been hours.
It's been hours. It has. We've been off, went and had a coffee, and now we're back. For you guys, it's been 2 seconds. Hopefully you shared us, pass us on to a friend. But we're here talking with Kim, and so far it's been so interesting to find out how sort of your business is showcasing its talents and showcasing you, and how you've passed on some great social media tips and sort of brand visibility to people to share. But I want to focus in now a little bit more on you and what makes you. So as you mentioned before, this isn't a trauma dump. We're not about to enter some of real intense
definitely
therapy
not going
session.
into that.
But I know that you had a different career, and then you've changed.
I did, yeah.
Was there a catalyst moment for that, or was it
always sung? And I've always worked in law, and I just did the same, and I was known for it. And then there came a time where I just started feeling like law just wasn't making me happy anymore. It was draining me. I was working in family law in particular, and that can be almost like a counselling job, and I'm just not built for that. I take on too much, like a human sponge. So I made the decision for my own mental well-being that I was going to quit family law.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Caroline Labato at Refine Marketing, was like, Kim, come and work for us. Be our brand champion. We love your energy. We'd love you to go out and network for us, and we'll pay you for it. And I was like, that sounds absolutely up my street. What a job. Yes, thank you. And when I started doing that job, it really opened my eyes. I was like, shit, I don't just like this. I'm fucking good at this. I'm good at this. It gives me a bit of a fire in my belly, and I am enjoying working again and earning money in a way that actually feels really aligned and nice. And I felt like I was doing something really positive. Not that I wasn't with law, but it didn't have that negative connotation with me anymore. So I decided at that juncture that I would, total ADHD moment here, I signed myself up for a marketing degree, and I got a job as an apprentice, even at like 40 or whatever I was at the time. I started working as an apprentice, an older apprentice. But I was like, these are the skills I need to gain. And I did that for almost a year, and then I found out that my mum had cancer and she was terminally unwell, and within 5 months she was gone. And that was a huge kick up the arse, because if tomorrow isn't promised, today has to count. And it really put things in perspective, and I thought, what am I doing? Like, why am I putting myself through a 3-year degree when I can just do it now? There's so much I can do now. I've not got to 42 as I was, I had to count back then. 42 without any skills. I've got a really good strong skill set, loads of different things that I can do. So I just made the decision. It took me a while to hand in my notice, but I was building in the background. I made the decision that I was going to go into personal branding, and visibility kind of came along with that as I started to realise, actually, I'm really good at this. And the visibility was creeping up, and I thought, I can share those secrets with other people, and I can help other people on their journeys too. And that's how we got here today. It was just that one brave step that I've talked about this quite a bit, and when I do my Be Your Own Fucking Cheerleader talk, I'm like, it's that one brave step, and it's making that decision to just go for it and commit to that action. Powerful.
That's really powerful. And because music's such a big part of your life?
Yeah, that's not gone.
No,
I still say.
I was like, please tell me that there's a soundtrack that we can go away and listen to that is, is there a song that still brings you back to certain moments, or like, if you were to think of a soundtrack for your life now,
I don't think it's that I've got a soundtrack. Like, the one thing that has kept me going over the last few years is my band.
Yeah.
And it's a really good creative outlet for me. And the thing that we do is create medleys and mashups. Yeah. So you like, one song is like, we'll be like, this is our last song of the set. It's 22 minutes long.
I love that.
So don't panic. We're here for a little bit longer. But it's that, and it's all kind of like 90s, noughties, R&B, pop, and I love that sort of music. Yeah. It's more a feeling than a particular song.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it does take me back to those dance floor days when I was carefree and single and had no children. It was great.
And I have certain songs that when I hear them, I think, I'm right back in that moment.
Pussycat Dolls and Rihanna for me. Like, literally, I just remember being in... We used to have a place called the Cocktail Factory. We'd go there and then we'd go to Revolution in Preston, where I'm from originally. And I just had the best years of my life. That was when I worked at a law firm, and we literally could go straight out of the office into town. It was so good. Yeah. And it does bring back that emotion, I think.
Yeah,
I love that.
when you say like Rihanna, to me conjures up, I'd just passed my driving test, I got my first car, and Rihanna's Disturbia album was the album choice for that car. I just remember driving around thinking the world was my oyster at that point, and just being there like
Alexis Jordan for me. I don't know why, like she was like a proper one-hit wonder, but that for me was very much the song that I remember. It takes you to a place, doesn't it? Yeah, music, definitely.
It really, really does. Well, as we hear from our next sponsor, put on your favourite soundtrack, have a jig, have a dance around.
Please don't stop the music.
Yeah, what a great way to finish. Don't stop that music, keep on going, and we'll be back in a sec. We want you. If you are a local business in Southport or the surrounding area, we have no preference. We would like to showcase your business. We are all about collaboration, supporting, and also showcasing what businesses have to offer. So if you want to be in this slot during the podcast, get in touch and let us make you shine. And welcome back. We went down to the pub, had a quick drink, came back.
Had a carvery.
Yeah. We've had a ball, had a bit of a dance to Rihanna, and now we're ready to go. There's a killing from a couple of slip drops. We're more than ready to go.
I can't get up from a slip drop, so you can tell that we didn't do that. No. We still led on the floor.
But somebody asked me about that yesterday. This is a very quick aside. So he did dancing as a child, and I said I did ballroom dancing from a very small age until I discovered Sean Paul, and then the booty shake just took over. So that was my dance revolution. So dancing for me is a really important part of my life, and I think I miss it in my day to day when I don't do it as often.
Yeah.
So. My question for you, is there anything within this season of your life that's taught you something new? So, my little bit there was about, if I'm not dancing, I start to feel a little bit, what's this?
I absolutely feel the same about music. Like, if I don't have that creative outlet, I know my job's creative, but it's a different kind of creativity. It's creative for me because I just love it. It brings me a different kind of energy. And as someone who is quite an extrovert, I do find that I recharge a lot around other people and music and that sort of energy, and I need more of it. And the less I have of it, the more I'm slumping, and I don't like slumping. I want to be up there. So yeah, this season of my life is all about recognising what fills me up, what gives me joy, and focusing on those things. Also includes travelling. I love travelling. Yeah. And it's hard with
Where
kids.
was the last place that you've been to?
No, don't ask me where the last place I went to was.
Where was the last place that you went to?
Iceland. Go on, ask me where the last place was. Benidorm.
Plenty of Pussycat dancing
last year I was really intent on that. I was like, this is my year of joy, abundance, and me fucking first. I am doing all the travelling, all the concerts. So I was like, I booked Lisbon. I went to Lisbon. I went to Budapest. And then I went to Iceland, and then I went to Benidorm. I actually fucking loved Benidorm. I was surprised by how much I loved the cheesiness of it.
I love that.
But it was great. I loved the cabaret. The cabaret acts were sensational. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic quality. I was not expecting it. I thought it's Blackpool in the sun. Not that there's out wrong with Blackpool, but yeah, I think I disregarded it, and it was pretty good. But yeah, I think everything's what you make of it, isn't it?
I love that. What a really positive message. It is what you make of it. And I think if you go in with that negative attitude,
you're going to find it. I genuinely think if you're looking for bad things, you'll find bad things.
And then on the flip side, you're looking for that smiley person, whether it's in a networking, business, life, you will find them. You will. And I think, you know, we are in that era where a lot of us are working from home or working independent businesses. We tend to then, you know, this is me maybe speaking a little bit more from personal than generalisation, but I then go and work at a coffee shop. I've normally got my headphones on, so I'm very isolated again. You know, you're spending a lot of time working but not necessarily interacting. So I think what you're showcasing through the network, through your social media, and through just being yourself is that speaking to people opens doors.
It does, absolutely. And you know, being that person who is like a shining beacon of light and warm energy, I want people to feel welcome, and like that's, as I mentioned it earlier, that sense of belonging around me. I don't like people feeling lonely. I don't want to ever go back to that place myself. So it's really important for me that there's good, happy, joyful places to go.
Brilliant. Well, that segues very well into my next question, which was, what does a good day in your life sort of look like? And we can use good in whatever manner, sort of way you feel, really. You know, I don't want it to be sort of, you know, what the ideal day is. It's just, what does a good day
look like? Well, let's not sugarcoat it. Kids not being dicks. Or waking up in a hotel somewhere and not being mum that morning. That's a great feeling. I love my kids, but I also love being me. And it's not always possible. So that would be a fantastic day. I'd love a day. I love networking. I love being out there and meeting other businesses and training people. That's something that I'm moving more into, is training people with social media and, you know, personal branding, how to get their brand out there. But I also would then top it off with performing. It's not because I have to be centre of attention. It's not because of that. I do love being centre of attention, but it isn't that. I just love the joy on people. They'd never expect it with our band, or me really as a singer. I think they don't expect me to sound and perform the way I do. And every single time I go somewhere, everyone's coming up to me. I feel fucking famous. It's dead good.
Love it.
I'm not, obviously. I wish my bank account felt famous.
I think sometimes for a lot of people, we want fame, and we really want the money.
I'm like a B&M Beyonce. It's like
I love that. That was so good. So we are going to sort of start to wrap it up a little bit now. We're going to move into what will be hopefully some quick fire questions.
Oh God!
I know. We're working on it. You know, we've listened to a lot of podcasts where they're quite snappy. So far, it might be more of my questions, but we want like bum bum bum.
Yeah, come on, Lizzie, we can do this.
I have to use these as my shorts.
We can do this.
Okay, so we're going to get ready. We'll be back in 2. Are you looking for a unique new place to showcase your business? Well, this could be it. We are building a brand new podcast where we want to showcase local people, local stories, and your local business. So want to be in this sponsor slot? Get in touch today. And we're back. So ready for this quick fire. Have you got yourself all boosted, ready to go? Okay.
No, but go on.
Okay, so where is your favourite spot for breakfast?
I'm rubbish at getting up for breakfast. It's more of a lunch. I'm much more of a lunch person. I like Cove in Birkdale, actually. It's my new fave.
Fabulous. Cove it is. Favourite spot for sundowners or a cheeky evening drink?
Sundowners?
When the sun's coming at like 4.
Oh, God. See, you can tell I don't get to do this anymore. I like Barrique in town.
Oh, lovely. Oh, fab. Is that where they said about olives?
Oh, the best olives I've ever had. Ever.
Fab. Do you have a favourite spot for a walk or somewhere where you just like to go decompress?
Wordon Park. I grew up by Wordon Park.
Fabulous.
In Leyland. Yeah,
lovely.
It's a great park.
Is there a sports club, a community group, or just a group in general that you want to give it? I've got to be inclusive.
That said, I'm quite involved with Southport Rugby, and I do enjoy going to Southport Rugby quite a bit. My husband plays for them.
Brilliant. So I
did get married there as well.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Fab. And then if there was a friend coming to Southport, they were visiting you, where would be one restaurant that you would recommend or you'd want to take them to?
I'd want to take them to loads of places.
Fab, well, let's name 3.
Oh God, don't do this to me. I'm terrible with remembering names. Weatherspoons. I really like, I'm very fond of Birkdale because I live near Birkdale, so a lot of the places will be around there. I do love the Bistro Verite there. I like...
Ouché.
Do you know, I used to love Laggio. It's not there anymore, is it?
No, it's not.
The sadness around that one going made me very, very sad. I love Barrique, just for a little bit of picky bits. I love a picky bit meal.
We've got really good pizzas as well in there.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I'm really on the spot with this one, but I do love Tic Taco.
Nice.
I love a bit of Tic Taco.
Bit of margarita on the side.
And they make me feel all loved because I get messages going, "You've not ordered from us in a while." And I'm like, "Oh, I miss you too, babes."
Excellent book of marketing, Tic Taco. That's fantastic. Well done. Well, we definitely got
ordered
through.
from us in a while, but it does have a tinge of "you fat bitch." Like, you're usually much greedier than this. Come back.
It's January. Some of us are giving it a rest. We're back to you in Fab. Well, thank you so much for coming on, speaking to us.
No, thank you for having
brought
me.
me so much joy, and hopefully, bigger burritos and like margaritas now.
Burrito margarita talk.
It has been wonderful to have you on. Hopefully, somebody has listened to the end. would be great. And if you have, share, send this, like we've said a few times now, to a friend. What you've, imparted on us, whether it's business-wise, visibility, and just your personal life story, I think will really resonate with a lot of people. So thank you for being really raw. Thank you for being sort of honest.
You're welcome.
And just showcasing who you are, which is, visible AF.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for listening to A Day in the Life. It has been an amazing podcast from start to finish. We're starting to become a bit of a pro at this. We're getting the hang of it. A super thank you to my cameraman, MAF Photography. He's smiling away, kind of rolling his eyes a bit at me for being too long. But come back, listen to us next time where we'll have brand new amazing guests.